Meteor, I'm so glad you're here. One of our members has been attacked and gravely wounded. I need you to go to him. I suspect this is the work of more bounty hunters. It may even be a trap to lure us into the open. Nevertheless, we cannot ignore our comrade's plight. When he last contacted us by Link Pearl, he said he'd try to seek shelter at the Coffer and Coffin. Take this potion and search for him, like, way over there. Awesome. Does Mila come back in future expansions? Am I going to regret some of the voices I've given people? Alright. Aid the injured gladiator. So I think that's the plan moving forward. There we go. Help me. Can't feel my... Your what? You can't feel your what?
Oh, thank you, brother. It all happened so fast. Over by the tracks to the north. I don't know who attacked me, nor why they left me alive. But I dare say the answer is out there. Surely someone saw something.
Well, let's start here in town.
Oh, the fellow outside, eh? I saw him stumble in when I left the bar to take a piss. Was alone, as I recall. You say he's wounded? Thought he was just drunk.
Wounded and drunk can look a lot alike. Any of us have probably experienced both. Alright, so we're at the scene of the crime. Oh, easy. I touched the dirt. Did I find it? Did I get anything? I think I got something. I found a ring. A metal ring engraved with a scorpion. Its tail poised, ready to strike, because that's how you draw scorpions. That makes sense. I don't know of anybody with a scorpion insignia, though, so that it doesn't teach me anything. Suspicious characters. Well, now that you mention it, I did see a strange fellow wearing a garish purple robe. At first, I thought he was talking to himself. Then I realized he had a link pearl. I heard him say something about the wrong man and the silver bazaar. Does that help? That is how I feel anytime I see somebody on a Bluetooth device. I'm like, oh, they've lost their mind. Oh, wait. They're just talking on the phone. Alright, bud. Here we go.
Oh, a purple robe. That sounds familiar. It was him, I'd swear it. Did you find anything else?
Without even looking up at me, you're gonna call somebody the culprit. You're gonna accuse somebody based on the fact that their outfit was a color? Like, is that the world we live in? Not, I'd have to see their face. I'd have to hear their voice. Ah, yes. A brown shirt. I did see somebody one time wearing a brown shirt. I think they did it. Come on, man.
Oh, picked this up by the tracks, huh? I mean, it might well belong to the bastard. Can't say I've seen its like before.
But I'm willing to accuse.
I mean, I'd go out on a limb. Might be his Wayman could tell you more. You know him, don't you? He's the spectacled bloke who's always lounging around the Emerald Avenue in the city. Of course, being a businessman that he is, he'll probably has to be compensated in exchange. Show that ring to Wyman. He'll be sure to know something about it.
Can you look me in the eye when you talk to me? Before you tell me to go pay somebody? How do I know he's not in on this? I feel like they're trying to bleed me of Gil. I don't trust anybody from Old Da. Can't do it. I can't do it. We were told to beat the crap out of some gobbies earlier for no reason. The pugilists were awful people. Awful people. who didn't see how awful they were because, like, their whole life has been fine. Alright. Well now, if it ain't Meteor, everybody's favorite venturer, I hear you threw your lot in with the gladiators. A questionable decision, given the events of recent days. But to each his own. To what do I owe the pleasure? Oi. Put that away before someone sees it. Where the 7Ls did you get one of those rings? What? You don't recognize the sigil? Ah, goddamn fool. Before you go stumbling around in the brush, you ought to at least know what kind of venomous bastards will be lurking within. Been a long time since Uldar's seen a criminal organization rise from obscurity to notoriety as quickly as the Alacran. Word is they got connections to the Brass Blades, the Syndicate, and God knows who else. But you didn't hear that from me. I want no part of whatever mess you and your mates have gotten yourself into. Understood? Sure. Who's this guy? Oh, a Phoenix down! I hear you've been busy as a bee. I've just been standing in front of you. Meteor, it seems half the whispers would come my way relate to your comings and goings. Being the active type you are, I reckon you'd be interested in investigating some queer rumors, am I right? But before that, let me ask, ever heard of a man named Hildebrand? No. To hear him tell it, he was Eorzea's greatest and most famous inspector. Still, can't say I'm surprised you don't know him. To his credit, Hildebrand and his assistant had a knack for showing up when something shady was afoot. As for sussing out the culprits, well, he had his moments. Though I hesitate to give him sole credit. And he wrote, 5 years ago, gets in his head that he's cracked the code of Messiah's 7th verse. Dalamud, the calamity, all of it can be stopped, he says. So long as he finds the hero of prophecy. And wouldn't you know it, the hero is Hildebrand himself. So he flies off towards Dalamud. Yeah, that's right, he flew. Launches himself straight into the air somehow, ridiculous as it sounds. Of course, it's only logical he'd come back down. Though it was only recently that we found his body. I had reason to bring this up. Oh, right, so Nashu, Hildebrand's erstwhile assistant, since come in to inspect her in her own right. At present, she's investigating the queer rumors I mentioned earlier. Sweet as a lass. A bit daft, but sweet nonetheless. So when I hear she's at wit's end, I want to help. Thing is, I prefer to meddle in the affairs of the living. Zombies are most definitely not my forte. So if you're willing, I'd be grateful if you lent her a hand. As for where to find her, she's like to visit Hildebrand's grave in the Lich Yard when she's frustrated. Try looking there for her first. Excuse me? I'm trying to stay on the gladiator stuff.
I liked it a lot more than the Beacon. You know, obviously with the main quest. Yeah, buddy.
I like pulling my toenail off with a door more than Slash Beacon. And Wymond needs to know that I don't like being misled into the false quest in the same way. Thank you for a year of support, Fredneck. We're going to abandon this quest. We'll come back to it. Alright. I gotta head to Mila. I should have read my quest log before accepting that quest anyway. I'll make him say all that again some point in the future. I have never finished Hildy. So, I look forward to doing it. We are very quickly getting into a bunch of stuff I've never done. I was a story skipper at this point, so, like, I've got every quest on my account cleared through literally, like, half the Shadowbringers. All the side quests in Stormblood, Heaven's Word, ARR, yeah. Accept and hide. Wow, way to become a version of you can be proud of. Somebody that Warrior of Lights enjoy slaying. Craster, thank you for 11 months. Almost a year. Almost a year. Thank you so much. Alright, Mila. Let's jump in. Oh, Meteor. I was wondering when you might return. What news do you bring of our, like, injured comrade? We're just gonna accuse the Alacran. I mean, I found one of their rings in the dirt. Somebody said that a guy was wearing purple. That's enough evidence for me. The Alacran? I find that hard to believe. But no matter. One of our comrades returned from Stone's Throw moments ago. A gang of bandits is said to be headed for the Silver Bazaar. They're after a man with an enormous bounty, like, all over his head. The people living there are in grave danger. In their frenzy to find their quarry, the bandits won't scruple to destroy property and harm civilians, and the few brass blades stationed there will be, like, powerless to stop them. We must stop them, Meteor. We'll protect the Silver Bazaar and avenge our injured guildmate, all in one fell swoop. Aw, a bit melodramatic, if you ask me. Aldous? I never told you to come here again. I couldn't sit idly by while you charge into battle against an enemy you know nothing about. Myla, a responsible guildmaster would never risk the lives of her charges like this. Who are you to lecture me about responsibility? Myla, listen to me. This is Alacran you're dealing with? So, whatever notoriety they may have achieved means nothing to me. We'll cut them down like the common bandits they are. It's not that simple. More importantly, it's not your fight. What are you saying? They want me, Myla. I've been fending off assassination attempts ever since I returned to Thanalan. Just stay here and let me handle this. It'll be over soon, I promise. Just stay here while you go off on your own? Is that it? It's been several years since I let you leave all this. 7 years. Do you have any idea what all you put me through? Myla, I don't want to hear it, you selfish bastard. Do you even care about the people who suffer because of you? Just get out. We don't need your help. We'll settle this totally, like, all the way by ourselves. Myla, wait. There's something you need to know. Enough! Get out! Get out! Alright. Save some of that for the Alacran. But do not let Meteor here come to harm while you're at it. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I feel like for Hildebrand, I would need to shave the goatee and just go full mustachio. Make a whole week of it. I don't know how long it is. I don't know, like, how long is Hildebrand from start to finish? The problem is that I would need to go do it on my main character because I'm going to need a New Game Plus it. Because I think I would want to do it all the way to present. And, like, this character's not going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to do it one expansion at a time. And that's no fun. But at the same time, there is something nice about experiencing the game as it was. Like, doing the 2.0 stuff and then stopping the 2.0 stuff. And then doing the 3.0 stuff and stopping the 3.0 stuff. That's why I'm not unlocking Rogue until we get to 2.4. I've unlocked all the classes except for Thaumaturge that were available at 2.0. Thaumaturge is what I started with on my main. I was actually a Black Mage main. And when you see how bad I play at Black Mage, you're like, oh my god. It's like, I know. I mean, I'm not a great tank, but I'm a better tank than I am a Black Mage. You look intense glowing like that. There you are, Meteor. Everyone's already in position. Are you prepared? Yeah, we're good. I'm totally ready. I got here on a flying mount. I literally don't know how you got here faster than me. I teleported and flew here. That technology didn't even exist back then. Alright, guys. Should I throw on stance? I feel like I should throw on stance and protect this novice and veteran. I got you guys. Oh. Oh, I'm getting a little stun action. Tiny little stun there. Stay focused. Choose your target and finish him. No. AoE. AoE, Milo. AoE. There is no one target. You got that wrong. Come on. Just burn it all down. Maybe stop and eat some raisins. Some mid-combat raisins. The Conjurers are the greater threat. The others can wait. No, they can't. No, they can't. Meteor, deal with them. No. It's fine. It's fine, Milo. We're gonna AoE it down. It's fine. I've got Total Eclipse. And I'm just gonna spam that. Alright, now we've dropped to one target. Let's tear down Charity here. How awful would it be if it turned out Charity was like an Alacran that was running things for like local children and we're like murdering them. And they're like, oh, did you find our ring in the dirt? And we're like, yes, it means you did something awful. And they're like, what are you talking about? We held a charity event there like 2 weeks ago. Of course my ring's in the ground. I've been looking all over for it. Rejoice, gladiators, for the day is ours. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What? But why would you be...
Leave them to us. First sword.
Excellent camera work. No, stop. Such brittle blades, so easily broken. Perhaps the first sword is made of stronger steel? Leave her, Zada. Our business here is over. Am I supposed to know who that is? Milo seems to know who that is.
The other sword!
What? What have you done, Levold?
First sword, we must withdraw. The wounded need tending. Let us take them back to the guild.
Alright. I wondered where the other sword was. I was asking yesterday. Excellent. The action camera work. You don't see a lot of that. I dig it. An example of a quest that is not aged well. That's why we're going to clear all of 2.0 before moving to 3.0. That means getting all of our job and class quests all the way to 50 and stopping. We're going to view Heavensward as Heavensward, which I've never done any of. We're going to get all the ARR stuff totally out of the way. And we're still right now working on all the stuff that was built in that 18 months from when Yoshi P took over 1.0 and said, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. So, and then we'll move into patch content. I may do the patch content before doing... I'm debating, I don't know. I might do Crystal Tower and Binding Coils like all in one go instead of doing them as they came. But that just comes from like, I was listening to Sebi talk about that last night. Like, it's easier to like do the voice acting when you like one-trick pony it, like straight through, like one focused. Because it's hard to remember what a voice was and be in on the story and be like super into it. It's easier to just binge it like you do a TV show. Because he didn't want to start his Reaper stuff until he finished getting Reaper to 80. So he was hoping that he could like boost his Reaper to 80 and then New Game plus the first quest and carry it straight through. Give me a moment, Meteor. I need to think. I wanted to spare you this, Mila. I begged you not to go. You knew, Aldous, that Leovold had... Leovold and I once fought side by side in the Colosseum. The twin swords of Naldthal, they called us. never lost a match. Honored by the bull of Alamigo himself, that was then, and this is now. When I learned Leovold single-handedly transformed the Alacran from a gang of common thieves to the most feared criminal organization in Thanalan, I knew I had to return. It seems like a lifetime ago that the three of us used to train together in this hall. The Leovold I knew would never stoop so low. He was a good man, strong and true. What would drive him to do this? When I find him, I'll be sure to ask. Unfortunately, he seems determined to kill me for my curiosity. What aren't you telling me, Aldous? I'm not clever enough to keep secrets, my dear. I'm a simple man, only capable of dealing with what's right in front of me. Is that so? I'll find him, Mila. I promise. Alright. This is all level 20 stuff. I don't care about that. A math problem. A dad and his 5-year-old buys this 5-year-old a donut and himself 10 munchkins. How many munchkins does the dad get to eat? I don't know. I feel like there's going to be something. I have no idea. I can put that in my inventory. None of them. None of them, Munio says. Not a one. Oh, nice. Look at that. And then do I have a big shield to go with it? I do. Except that it's not better than mine. Wow, look at all those. Alright. They're not hurting anybody right now. At some point I'll have to clear all that out. This is a mess. Alright, Mila. I cleared out my inventory. I'm ready. Media. I must apologize for my earlier behavior. As for Sword, my duty is not only to foster your growth as a gladiator, but to, like, also protect you from dangers you're not ready to face or something. I did not know that Leovold had become the leader of the Alacron. He had chosen to, like, bear his steel at us, and many and more of us would, like, not have returned alive. I need to know why he's turned to a life of crime. And so I've ordered my best men to scour, like, all of Thanalan for any trace of his whereabouts. Unfortunately, one of them, like, totally disappeared. I have strong suspicions that he had been taken prisoner by the Alacron, or worse. If there is any hope of saving him, we must act quickly. I would have you search for our missing comrade, and that's what I meant by we. His last report stated that he was tracking the Alacran near the Hammers in Western Thanalan. If you go there, you may yet find some clues to his fate, and then, like, we can all take credit. I've been far too reckless in recent days, and let too many good gladiators come to harm. Please, Meteor, like, find our missing comrade and bring him home safe or something. Awesome. Awesome. I feel like every class trainer is like, we need to fix this. You should go get on that. And maybe it's just because they didn't have access to the, like, accompaniment system, which I hope evolves beyond its initial showing in Endwalker. I think its initial showing was a huge tech leap forward off of basically a slash follow. But man, I hope it gets better, where they can, like, really make us feel like throughout MSQ we have this duty support system with us, and we don't have to cut to, like, scenarios. We can use them to, like, slay Hammerbeaks and fight in a Fate or something like that. Even if they're not helpful, because they don't want that to be combat breaking, just feeling like they're helping. It's a little weird when, like, an NPC's been beating on a Yarzan feeder for 10 years and it hasn't lost any life, but I get it mechanically. Just from an immersion standpoint, it's weird that when they're like, meet me over there, and then you teleport and fly there, and they're like, I've been waiting here for, like, ever. How? How could you have been waiting? And then on the other side of it, you pick up the quest, and then you go, like, beat an entire raid series, and then you come back, and they're like, Oh my god, thank you so much for hurrying. I didn't hurry. I went off and, like, beat 10 dragons. So it'd be nice if the game could do a little better at telling that, because it narratively does try to keep some form of, like, a timeline going, as opposed to when I play games like World of Warcraft, where each quest is a little more standalone in a lot of the early expansions, and so it didn't feel that way. Comparing ARR to old WoW, where the urgency felt justifiably different. Like, you go to fight these centaurs, and they're like, hey, there's been constant waves of centaurs. Could you help us with this wave? And then when you finish, there's still waves coming, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. So for a game that tries to keep a better narrative thread than that, I would love to see them keep some of that. It's part of the reason I wanted to get to know WoW lore, is I want to really know the difference in how they tell, because my WoW lore is, like, always kept at a distance. I played a lot of WoW over the years, but I played it the same way I played 14, like, not truly taking the narrative as the driving factor of an MMO.
It's a trap, brother!
Is it? How did I not see these guys? I've been standing here, chatting with myself. Dun, 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 dun. This is open world combat, so I'm gonna get out a chicken, if you don't mind me. Fight my chicken. Excellent. Chastity. Chastity. 3 chastities. Is that like a rank? Is chastity below charity? Like, do you earn the ability to no longer be chaste and that's a promotion? Like, oh my gosh, when I'm high enough in the Alacran that I get to, like, sleep around, totally gonna be a charity. What are these ranks?
Oh, that's some fine swordsmanship, meteor. Mila, the first sword certainly knows how to pick 'em. Even after all these years, I can't quite bring myself to call her that. See, I still remember when her father brought her to the guild. A wee lass who cried at the sight of naked steel. But to look at her now, you'd swear she was born with a blade in her hand. Not like she had much of a choice but to rise to the occasion, though. What with all the trouble with Aldous got into 7 years ago, selfish bastard. He should never... Ah, well, enough of my rambling. I'll make my way back to Ul'dah after a short rest. You go ahead and tell Mila that I'm fine.
You've been resting since I got here. Can none of these people make eye contact? Not a one. Ridiculous. What happened to Endwalker maps? They went through and changed a lot of the map priorities, so check the price of other maps. You may find that Endwalker maps aren't the thing that people need loot from right now, because the crafting is really cheap this expansion, as a general rule. So they may not need Endwalker materials. So if you're looking for highest priced map, it may not be Endwalker. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's some other maps that have, like, some rare stuff tied to them that, like minions and mounts and stuff, now that all that stuff is, like, higher selling because you can filter by ones you don't have. So higher volume selling, not necessarily higher price. So check other maps. So that total population is a little bit down between patches. But, you know, regardless of that, as the whole market goes up and down, it's not all of that. Because in theory, as the total population goes up and down, the number of gatherers and the number of map makers both go up and down. So that on its own shouldn't single-handedly drive price, since both supply and demand would rise and fall with player population. Meteor, like, thank the gods or whatever, you're alright. I heard all about the ambush at the Hammers. Like, excellent work. You've been invaluable to the guild, and I cannot thank you enough. I really can. I don't even want to thank you enough. In fact, I believe you deserve, like, a much-needed rest. Take some time for yourself and return when you've recuperated. Before you go, speak with Lulutsu. I believe she has a message for you. And then, like, get out of here, because I have got to get to taking all the credit for the stuff we did. You mean I did? You didn't help me, lady. I don't remember your voice, Ludo. I don't. Ah, Meteor, the very gladiator I was seeking. Lean closer, for I would not want to have the others hear my words in my voice that has probably changed. Aldous sends his regards and requests you meet him at the Lich Yard in eastern Danalan. Naturally, I've not divulged this information to the First Sword. As you may have gathered from her previous interactions, she's still rather upset with him. You would likely forbid any further association. Quite understandable, since he was clearly being groomed to become the next guildmaster before that horrible scandal. Oh, they would have made such a lovely couple. Forgive me, this is hardly an appropriate topic of conversation. You have my word that the First Sword will not hear of any rendezvous from me. Alright. Little Camp Drybone action. You're lazy, though. You want to get the map from your Wondrous Tales and sell it for 40,000. I mean, that's why it's crashing. Because everybody just gathers the highest level map, assuming it'll be the highest. And that means that if demand ever shifts to something lower, there's no supply to go with it. So it'll shock you sometimes how much one of the lower maps outpaces it. They can be wildly off. Alright, Aldous. What you doing, broski? Oh, yes! Another scenario. I like these. I like them. And where have you been? Busy drowning in some sweet young thing's eyes? Well, if that's the case, I understand completely. It's been 7 years since Milo's father was laid to rest here. When he was mean and stubborn and old Aldergoat through and through, but gods, when he danced with sword in hand, it was pure poetry in motion. Mila's right. There's no way I could know what it was like for her back then, forced to replace her father under such terrible circumstances. And who might you be? Another of Leovold's lackeys? Master Leovold has been most distressed since learning of your return. This is unacceptable. Your master does not deserve your loyalty, kitten. When you've outlived your usefulness, he'll dispose of you like so many others. Believe me, I speak from personal experience. Say what you will. I will not be swayed. She looks awful determined to kill me, still. I'm not really in the mood to play. Mind stopping her, Meteor? Game on. Game on. Woohoo! I expected more. No pressure, but I'll be evaluating your performance. You would die for this scum? Very well. Read her movements, Meteor. It's not exactly high literature. Your interference is inexcusable. This ends now. Watch it, Meteor. This kitten has claws. Okay. I did it. I beat the crap out of her. Hooray. You've grown stronger. Good. I'm glad Mila has a man like you to rely upon. What's that supposed to mean? She's her father's daughter, a leader of men, a true warrior, and an obstinate woman who let her feelings cloud her judgment. Which is why she needs to be surrounded by dependable people who will give her good counsel and keep her temper in check. Now, more than ever, stick by her. She needs you more than she knows. No, I want you guys to interact more. Why don't you do it? Why am I getting pawned off? Haven't you listened to a word I said? She needs dependable people. In case you haven't noticed, I am anything but. I'm only here because of unfinished business. When it's settled, there'll be no reason left for me to stay. I owe it to her old man to put an end to this, to give him peace in Thal's realm by making the bastard Leopold finally answer for his crimes. Remember what I said, Meteor. Now go. She's probably wondering where you are. I doubt it, but maybe. Let's do it to it. Back to the Gladiators Guild. So far, this has not been that... I really think I liked the Shroud quests more than the Thanalan ones, class quest-wise. They did a lot of world building. Lenosha did a good job of explaining why the world works the way it does, but it did it through like a very personal style. So like we're learning why individuals act that way with the world. But it was neat to learn about like arcane magics and roaming beasts and things like that. But I think the Shroud did the best job of like setting the scene of ARR. This feels like the opposite. So Lenosha feels like in between. We've got Shroud, world building, and we've got Thanalan, people building, and you've got Lenosha who is telling about the world through the lens of talking about people. So I think in that order, I like Shroud, then Lenosha, then Thanalan, because I'm doing the class quests by city-state, because I think that's a neat way of kind of... They interact with each other, because you end up going to the same places, because if you think about when people are below level 30, you have to go to the same places. So they have to have reasons of going to the same zones, and so they're tackling a lot of the same themes, just by the nature that they're constricted to the same region, because at that level range, you can't be expected to travel. Especially back when teleports were considered expensive. Why are you staring at me like that, Meteor? Is something the matter? You're behaving rather oddly. Well, I'm afraid I have no news regarding Alakran's movements. I remain confident, however, that we'll find them soon, though. So keep your blade, like, way sharp. And that is why I'm going to give you, like, a totally new one. So I don't have to keep it sharp, because each blade only lasts, like, 8 minutes.